So I want to talk about the passing of John Romita Sr. I rarely do videos on the passing of people besides wrestlers, usually because of how connected I am to that fandom or whatever, and people I watched growing up. Although at times I have done a few videos on, like celebrities or directors who have passed away, who have meant a lot to me. So I had to talk about John Romita Sr. And again, like I said, I don't do videos on every celebrity death because they don't all even though it's tragic when it happens, depending on who it is, it depends on how they resonate with you and with me. So I want to talk about John Romita because this guy I think is really important to discuss based on my audience here on World of Geekdom. World of Geekdom is the channel where I discuss video games, movies, and wrestling, and also life with the speakdoms once in a while. John Romita Sr. is a legend in the comic book world. He is an artist who has given us so much, so many great moments, so many great characters. He was born in 1930, died in 2023, and there were so many happy memories that this guy has given us. So many legendary panels. Into the Spider-Verse just came out. And had it not been for John Romita and all the work he did on Spider-Man throughout all the years that he worked on it, there's no way that Into the Spider-Verse would be as inspired as it was. I'm sorry, I meant to say Across the Spider-Verse, but it applies for that one too. It applies for both movies because John Romita did a lot for Spider-Man and for comics as a whole. I would say that The Amazing Spider-Man and his work on that was really, to me, like his magnum opus. Obviously, he wrote stuff on The Punisher. He wrote stuff for X-Men and Wolverine, which are some of my favorite characters ever. But he's the guy who, besides the fact that he created Wolverine, created The Punisher, and he created Mary Jane. And Mary Jane is Peter Parker's most iconic love interest ever. But he also worked on Captain America in the early 50s during the Atlas Comics era, which to me is legendary. He did work on the Avengers. All this MCU stuff, all of this stuff that we all enjoy would not even exist or be anywhere near as prominent had it not been for John Romita. I can go through the guy's catalog all day. Just an incredible, incredible time. Briefly wrote for Fantastic Four and for Daredevil. He's touched a lot of really big characters, really, really big characters and big stories. Think about this for a minute. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko began Spider-Man, and unfortunately, both of those guys are no longer with us anymore, whereas Romita started on Amazing Spider-Man 38 from 1966. That's early in the Amazing Spider-Man run. And when Romita was in charge, that's when it was decided that Spider-Man would be the mascot. He would be the main character of Marvel Comics, the figurehead, the symbol. He is Marvel Comics as much as Batman and Superman are DC. That's Spider-Man, and it's because of Romita. After his run on Spider-Man, he also helped design, and I mentioned Wolverine and Punisher, Luke Cage is in there, Bullseye, Tigra. He just totally, created some legendary characters. He also designed Black Widow's outfit at one time, and then would even go on to be like an art director. He also did some inking for the Monica Rambeau version of Captain Marvel from the Amazing Spider-Man run. All this stuff that we're seeing now, like I mentioned, he was an integral part of the story. Like if you're going to look at Hall of Fame comic book creators, people like your Todd McFarlane's, people like your David Michelinis, people like Jack Kirby, people like Stan Lee, you have to put John Romita Sr. and his son Jr. in that category. Maybe the greatest father-son duo in the history of comics. Just a legend in every sense of the word. And he lived a long life. I mean, dying at 93, it's sad, but it's also like, you know what? He lived a hell of a life. He probably got to see No Way Home, I would assume. I would assume he saw it. I don't know about Across Spider-Verse because they just came out, but I would assume that he saw No Way Home, and I could be wrong. Maybe he doesn't watch movies, but or at least that many movies, but hopefully he saw that so many things that he had come up with had brought so much joy and so much glee into people's lives. And ultimately, I think a lot of us strive for that. I think you've got people in this world who just want to do a good job and just want to make money for themselves and their family. Then you've got people who want to influence their community or even their state or even their country. Here we have a guy who literally touched people's lives worldwide, and there's a very small number of people who have existed since the beginning of time who have done that. It's not a very big number, and some of the things they've done are obviously minuscule compared to other things. Nevertheless, he did, and he will always be remembered for that. So those are my thoughts on John Romita Sr. I mean, it's just there's so much. If I sat here and I went through his catalog, it would never end. It would never end. Captain America. He did a little bit of Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. He did, I mentioned Wolverine. Like, there's just so many things that his pen touched. And to me, that's a great thing. So rest in peace, John Romita Sr. We all salute you.